Perfect. I think in the interests of time, we are going to get going. I will continue to let people in as we go along. So welcome everyone. I know it's the 1st of December. We are well into peak season. I know everyone is very busy. So we don't want to take too much of your time. The way we'll run today is we will do a bit of an intro to Yes for Youth. Latabo has joined us along with Emmanuel from Yes. And Latabo will be doing the presentation. And then after the presentation, there will be an opportunity for some Q&As around the Yes process. I know a lot of you, just for some context, had already, I think in August, indicated that you'd be interested in hosting tourism graduates in your business. Yes, have come on recently to support the department from a project management perspective, but I'm sure Latabo will unpack that a little bit more for you. And I know we have some new interest today for people who may have missed the original deadline who want to know more. So we are hoping to answer all your questions in today's session. So please feel free to answer anything, ask anything that you need to know. Just a little bit about Yes. Yes is the highest impact private sector youth employment program in South Africa. It's a private sector-led initiative. They address the country's youth unemployment crisis by empowering businesses to create jobs for unemployed youth. Latabo will be taking you a little bit more through what Yes does. Latabo is the head of project management office at Yes for Youth. He's a senior manager with extensive experience in performing a full spectrum of stakeholder relationships management in the tourism, government, e-commerce, hospitality, and NGO sector. He was previously the head of business development team, where he was responsible for formulating the department's operational and management strategy. So we are in very good hands today with Latabo, and I'm going to hand over to you now, Latabo.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction, Kim, and good morning. My name is Letabo Tlhapane. I am fortunately, I think before, I came to Yes, I used to be in the tourism sector. I used to work for Southern Sun Hotels, actually, as sales manager for almost half a decade. And before that, I used to be at Piermont, and I've also been at South African Tourism for time. So one could say I'm relatively FA with the demands and the requirements of the tourism sector. I think it just became fortuitous that I'm involved in this particular sector initiative. But as mentioned, I'm not alone. I'm here with my colleague Emmanuel, who will provide the necessary support as I'm going through this particular presentation. What I want to do is I just want to share the presentation that we will be going through. Let me just come here, just share this quickly. Just Emmanuel, just give me a thumbs up there if you can see the presentation, if it's appearing.
All good, Latabo, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for that, guys. So what I want to do is I'm just going to go through a brief overview, of what Yes is. I think that's always quite important, and then I think can give you guys just a high overview, but I think it's important straight into the opportunity that we currently have. Yes.
I sort of let you know your signal seems to be dipping every now and then, so I don't know if you want to just go
Should
on.
Should I switch off the camera?
Yes, I think that would help.
Okay, Emma, do you want to do the same there? Is it better?
It seems to be better.
Okay, pardon for that. Today is literally our first day in our new offices, so probably that's the reason why. But please do inform me if the signal gets worse. I'll just try and change network providers here. Maybe I'll just hotspot myself. I think that'll make it a bit better. Okay, great. So I'm just going to be brief again, and please do keep questions. Like I mentioned, I'm just going to take you through an overview of what Yes is, the partnership and opportunity, and we'll have the Q&A session right at the end. So like I mentioned, what is Yes? And I think that's a very crucial point to start, so that we do not conflate maybe what we do versus what the requirements are. As much as we're an enabler for 12-month working opportunity, the core operation versus the opportunity are relatively different. So what is YES? YES is a private sector-led initiative addressing SA's youth unemployment crisis. And we actually came out of the CEO initiative in and around 2016 when a group of concerned CEOs, thought of how they can tackle the particular issue around youth unemployment in South Africa. And from that, a specific incentive was derived, between the corporate company, between labor and government, to essentially incentivize companies that provide youth with a 12-month working opportunity with a BE level up. So companies are able to get 1 or 2 B levels up if they register, if they pay themselves, if they register, if they pay the youth the salaries for 12 months, they're able to get 1 or 2 BE levels up. And in essence, we've roughly done, we crossed the 100,000 mark in and around the 2 on March 2024. And we also recently crossed the 200,000 mark around, I think it was around August this year. So YES is probably one of the largest globally recognized 12-month full-time working opportunity initiatives. And like I mentioned, we've got, the difference between YES and other initiatives is we are, 100% corporate sector led. Although we do have partnerships with various entities, we're 100% corporate sector led. We've got roughly around 1,900 registered corporate funders that fund salaries and try and create employment for unemployed youth. And the key difference between YES and a lot of organizations is that, youth that come through the YES system, around 44% of them become either full-time employed or get a fixed-term contract at the end of the 12 months. And we've got a diverse group of youth that are on our that come through the YES system. I mean, majority of them are female-owned, and 74% of the youth that come through our ecosystem come from grant recipient households. So this basically talks to the social impact initiative that YES leads. So how does the YES model work from a corporate perspective that would like to generally improve their BE levels up? So there's one of two options. Like I mentioned, the company will come and register through YES. They will place the youth inside their own organization, integrate them with whatever demand or job is required within the organization. The second, they'll employ them, they'll pay them, they'll employ the youth, recruit the youth, employ them, pay the youth, and absorb a certain portion. At least 10% of them will be placed within the organization and absorb at least 10% of them at the end of the 12 months. And as a result, most corporate companies will get a BE level up. So then the second option that we have is for companies that are not able to place youth inside the organization. I don't assume it's any of you guys here. They then decide we would like to place youth through our implementation partner, through YES, at a sector where there is particular demand or support that they would like to provide. So these youth are placed outside of the organization. They're recruited by the host company, and then they are employed by the host company, and certain percent of them absorbed at the end of the 12 months. So that is a general option that we have for most of our corporates. So it's either, they place the youth internally inside their own organization, or B, they place them at a different host company for the youth to get the 12 months working experience at. Right. And the key value proposition here that we try and solve for by allowing companies to place youth outside of their own organization is that this allows YES then to curate specific sector initiatives. So this is what led to our partnership with the Department of Tourism, that where we're able to cultivate and carve out a specific tourism sector related programs as a result of are not able to place youth inside their own organization, but would like to be part of a broader sector impact.
Seems like we've lost Letabo a little bit there.
One of
Sorry,
these
Letabo.
successful initiatives that we had is our partnership with Sanlam, where we've been able to with Sanlam, where we started a partnership in 2023. This is what we call the youth.
Yeah, you're dipping a little bit. It seems to come
Okay.
back for a while. Yeah, I don't know. If
Okay,
you
now
could,
I'm changing my yeah, network provider part.
apologies everyone, if you could just pause just so that we can get through the rest of the presentation seamlessly. Just as a reminder while we wait, the session is being recorded, so you can watch back on demand and share that with your teams. We will be asking questions at the end as well. For those that have just come in, I'm still letting people in, which is great that we've had such a great response. Letabo, who is presenting, is just changing service providers just because we've had some tech issues. Don't be alarmed. We'll get going again soon.
Hi Kim. He's just reconnecting. I don't know if you can hear me also from my side.
Yes, I can hear you, Emmanuel. So all good. I just think it'll be easier that we do this now instead of struggling along and we don't get the most out of the session.
Okay, he's just reconnecting now. I think the Wi-Fi it's giving him a bit of, bit of a hack. So he's just gonna reconnect with it. Yeah,
No, that's all good. No worries.
cool.
These things happen. Just as a reminder, the chat section is open for anyone who has questions so far, or if you thought of something beforehand that you want to pop in there so you don't forget, you're welcome to do that. I am monitoring those so we can ask those at the end. Emmanuel, do we have an ETA?
Let me just forward. Kim, let me just forward Emmanuel the presentation. I think that will make it easy. I don't know. I'm struggling to connect yet.
No worries. All good.
Okay.
Yeah. And excuse me all for that again.
No, it's okay. These
Is
things happen.
quite
Silly
unfortunate.
season. Again, for those who have just come in, because we're still letting people into the session, we're just having some tech issues. We're switching over now to get everything up and running again. Don't be alarmed. We shouldn't be too much longer. The chat section is open for any questions you have. There will be a Q&A at the end. The session is being recorded, so if you wanted to watch back or share that with your teams, you will be able to do that. We'll share the recording hopefully by tomorrow latest.
Yeah, just check the presentation for me there, please.
You're right, Emmanuel?
Yes, we've got the presentation here.
Amazing. Just let me know when you're ready to test.
Okay, just move through. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Emma, for that. Let me just do this. Just
I'm looking for that presentation.
Yeah. Can you see it?
It's coming up. Just 1 second. Yes, you just need to put it into presentation mode, but it is there.
Is it in presentation mode now?
Here we go. That's perfect. I don't know if you can make it a little bit bigger, otherwise it's not a train smash. It is there.
Is it
I
on
think
is it on
it is.
presentation mode?
Yes, you are all good.
Okay, cool. Let me just get there. Again, all sincere apologies for that. Okay, great. Let me just get to where we were. Yes, so like I mentioned, so what Yes did then in and around 2023, we partnered with Sanlam, to start an initiative called Youth for Tourism Initiative. This particular initiative was aimed at, helping the tourism sector recover specifically from, the disastrous and hard impact that COVID had. And through that, we're able to mobilize around 72 corporates that combined, supported 1,708 full-time full-time jobs within the tourism sector. And this is where, yes, thought of partnering with the Department of Tourism from. The Department of Tourism, they've been a partner of ours for some time, especially when we're working through this particular youth for tourism or sector related initiative, when we were looking at, how can we support the tourism sector. And what came out of that was that the Department of Tourism said that they would like to support in-demand skills for the tourism sector. So our partnership basically is we're looking at implementing a demand-led 12-month full-time jobs for South African youth. The Department of Tourism will fund the related salaries and the youth statutory costs. So we are looking at around, we're looking at around 300 Rand a day, minimum 21 days and a maximum 23 days. So that gives you, an average of around, 6,500 Rand that we're looking at funding for these youth within, the tourism sector. And our key role here is that, Yes is responsible for facilitating the payment of salaries and monitoring and evaluating this particular program. As I mentioned, we specialize fundamentally in facilitating, the employment opportunities for unemployed youth. And we also have mechanisms that we've put in place to monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of these placements. Chief amongst them is we got a global leading monitoring and evaluation system where we actively call 45,000 youth every single month to confirm if they A, have been paid, A, B, is the job that you're doing related or aligned to what you signed your contract agreement on, and checking as well how they're progressing through the 12 month initiative. That's the reason why Yes is comfortably able to say that we really drive high permanent or contractual absorption at the end of the 12 months. And we find that the better the quality working experience that the youth gets, and matched with a host that is looking for an in-demand job, or where a host is looking at plugging productivity or solving for productivity issues in the organization, that is where we see the highest quality working experience being met, satisfied host, and more importantly, youth that are able to be employed in the long run, which basically tackles the issue of high unemployment in South Africa. Then, what is the expectation then from a corporate host company, right? So, what we're looking for, and especially as SATSA members, we are looking for, and I assume you all are, registered businesses that are able to provide youth with a quality working experience. So, we're expecting, companies that have, for example, that have the necessary quota requirements, companies that are that meet the basic requirements or that can meet the basic conditions of Employment Act, the Labor Relations Act, and all the necessary basic requirements of an organization that is recognized by, for example, the Department of Labor. And your responsibility then is, again, like we mentioned, is to again provide the youth with a 12-month working opportunity, supervise them so that you're able to evaluate their progress. Are they adding value to your own organization, which is very critical, as I keep saying. We want to ensure that the youth add value to your organization because that always drives high absorption. And then the expectation that we're looking for is that you're able to send us at least a monthly attendance register signed by the respective supervisor, basically providing us with, we'll be able to monitor the progress, get training updates, and also, be informed of any risks associated with the particular program. So when we're looking at risks, we're talking about things, for example, like have there been youth that have dropped out? Are you fundamentally facing any particular issues? Just so that from a governance perspective and an oversight perspective, we can relay, whatever necessary feedback to the funder, in this particular instance, the Department of Tourism. Then the youth criteria. So as this is a placement opportunity, it doesn't necessarily follow the prescripts of BEE, like I mentioned a bit earlier. So there isn't any requirements when it comes to ethnicity, but the overall requirement is that the youth have to be aged 18 to 35. They have to be unemployed. And a second thing as well is that we would appreciate that the youth need to be tourism graduates. They need to have graduated from a higher education institution in South Africa, whether it is a TVET, a university or college, but the youth needs to have a tourism qualification. And then after that, you will be able to do you'll be able to recruit the required youth. So those are the only requirements from the youth. So the youth can also be previously employed. They could be 35, having worked somewhere previously. That is not a problem, but they have to be unemployed at the start of the program. And you're going to ask, how do we know, or how are we going to know if they're unemployed? The youth needs to be able to provide a affidavit that will explain all of that. However, though, these granular details we'll be able to provide to you in an FAQ that will detail all these requirements. I don't think we had time to obviously go into too much details in terms of specifications, but that is the overall requirement of a youth. And how do we foresee the onboarding process occurring? So you can email us, at youth4tourism@yes4youth.co.za. We will share again the FAQs where you can contact us, and I believe this has been communicated as well to some of you. So we will then respond to yourself. Once you communicate to us, the quantity you wish to employ, and the area that you wish to, provide the youth this employment opportunity at. Then after that, the expectation is that you will be expected to pay a monitoring and evaluation fee. This is basically a nominal fee per youth that you place within your own organization. It's a nominal cost. Again, it indicates some sort of level of commitment. And as YES is not a government funded organization, like government doesn't fund our operations. I mean, in this instance with DT, they fund the salaries of the youth. They don't fund YES to facilitate anything here. We utilize that fee to run our operations, i.e., like I mentioned, the necessary monitoring and evaluation that we need to do. That is where that particular monitoring and evaluation fee goes. So it's a once-off fee that you pay off at the beginning of the program, and it's per youth. So once-off fee per youth. We currently are just finalizing the registration portal because all registration that we conduct on YES is a digital. It's a digital registration process. However, we're just finalizing the link for this particular initiative, which we will share as well. And we are looking roughly at an average fee of around 2,000. But we'll confirm that average fee when we put the portal link up. And then the last requirement is that you sign the terms and conditions of becoming a host. That will again detail the requirements, i.e., that you recruit a youth that is age 18 to 35, they're South African, that they're unemployed, and that they need to have a supervisor that will oversee their work during the period of 12 months, and that as reasonably as possible, you are able to provide them with a with absorption pathway or like absorption if it is possible at the end of the 12 months. Okay, thank you, everybody. That's it from my side, Kim. I hope I've detailed the overview of the program and what YES does. Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, Lataba and Emmanuel in the background. Yeah, if you guys have got any questions, I think pop them into the chat. We'll ask them, and we will get those answered for you as far as what we can. I think, Lataba, I'm going to ask a question that came through on email last week, and maybe you'll
Yes.
be able to answer some of these. So, this member of ours is located in Plettenberg Bay. They just had
Mm.
a question around transport. So, would they be required to fund any sort of petrol allowance or transport costs? Basically, the question is, a graduate would need their own vehicle. Of course, any petrol costs in relation to their work would be remunerated by AA. We could work around this possibly, but it is a bit of a concern. So maybe you could clarify around transport petrol costs.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah. So as the youth receive a salary, right, or what we communicate as a salary in YES language, is that the employer or the host company doesn't need to contribute anything additionally. However, though, just to be clear, we do encourage that you follow all your necessary human resource policies or policies that are aligned to your organization. So if other staff members receive a vehicle allowance or travel allowance, please do the same. We all know that once the youth has to travel significant distances, and this is what we see all the time. Once youth have to travel significant distances from where they live to employment, that tends to generally lead to high drop-off rates because of transportation costs. So we do encourage, if at all possible, if you do require, or if it's your company policy that you remunerate them for petrol, please do go ahead, but it is not an expectation.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Just another question from the same member. Just around, I know you chatted around I forget your terminology, but a pathway after the 12 months. So if there is an
Yes.
opportunity to absorb that youth into the business full time, is that
Mm.
is that an absolute requirement? So if somebody just wanted to, basically host someone for 12 months, and then there's no further opportunity beyond the 12 months, is that okay? Or do they need to have a very clear roadmap post the 12 months in terms of absorption into the business?
Thank you very much, Kim, and that's actually a very crucial point there. So it isn't a must that organizations need to employ them. However, we significantly encourage that organizations do so. And how we do that is when we engage with various partners is we need to be clear as to that's why we call it a demand-led organization. We are looking after demand. Where is the demand in your organization? Where would this particular youth be able to add or increase productivity? Because usually when they're able to increase productivity, that is when organizations now are able to provide them with long-term employment opportunities. What we generally do not want, and this again, makes YES different to other organizations. We as YES, and we hope that the host as well. We're not here to do the youth any favors or to say we're doing somebody a favor by giving them a place to work. There are a lot of host companies where the youth can actually work, but we would like the youth to actually add value to the organization that they'll be placed in, which is why even with the remuneration, we've tried to give a decent living wage, which is above the national minimum wage of 5,000. We're not paying 2,000 rand stipends, but we really want to get the right youth in the right working opportunity where they'll be able to add value. So there isn't an expectation, but it is highly encouraged that, youth, there is a pathway or there is a potential consideration that at least 10% of the youth that you would like to place in your organization get either permanently or fixed term contract after the 12 months.
Perfect. And that's obviously pending any reviews and monitoring and all that and outcomes.
Yeah, yeah. It's completely up
Perfect.
to the host, yeah.
Perfect. I've got someone who's asked for your direct contact details. I'm happy to share those, but I do think we're trying to streamline any questions
Mhm.
and that through the youth for tourism at yesforyouth.co.za email that has been provided to SATSA members. But we can take it offline and I can check what email addresses we can share directly. We just want to obviously streamline the process. Next question I've got
Yes,
is when is the
yes.
program scheduled to start?
So that's a very good question. So the estimated start date, and I know we've this communication has gone out a while ago. I think it's the same issue. Or it's the same with us here as well. So the estimated start date here to put all the building blocks into place is safely the first of February. I think because of the time of the year, I'm assuming a lot of organizations would have already made means of getting people into the getting the necessary human resources within the organization given the time of the year. I know this is obviously the busiest time of the year for organizations, but the estimated start date that we're looking at would be the 1st of Feb. And hopefully then the good thing is you will have the necessary human resources by the time demand comes again in 2026. I mean Easter in 2026, so organizations would have had enough time to really upskill the youth or give them the necessary requirement that that will be able to meet the peak seasons that are coming next year. So 1st of Feb is the estimated start date to be safe for everyone.
Just to be clear, is that the start date to have bodies in your business? Or is that the start date in terms of a wrap up on registration process and seeing that through and knowing that you've been successful and you're getting X amount of people into your business?
So that is the to place the youth intern the start date of the youth to be employed in your own
Okay.
organization. So what we can start off with, we can start with the preliminary stuff. For example, the registration, dealing with any related questions, assist with recruitment, and all of that. So I think we can put in the building blocks now in the interim that will get us to maybe getting the youth to start on the 1st of February.
Perfect. Just a question from my side, but I think it will be something on everyone's mind. So is there a deadline to register by? So if somebody came in a little bit later, say they came to the party in March and they wanted to host a youth in their business for 12 months, is it an ongoing process or for this
Yeah.
project specifically, is there a cut-off date to register?
No, so there isn't for this one, there isn't a cutoff date. What we do have though is we've got a limit in terms of salaries. So I think we are looking at around 400 paid for salaries. So once that 400 is reached, we can't obviously fund or facilitate the funding of more. So the department have gladly provided, for around 400 youth. So there isn't a cutoff date. I hate to say this when we talk about human beings, but it is going to be on a first come first serve basis.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm.
Sharon would like to know, do we get the chance to choose the youth by receiving their CVs?
Yes. So, sorry, can you just repeat that so I answered it again properly?
So basically, a selection criteria, Sharon would like to know, do they, as a business, if you are hosting X amount of youth in your business, do you have the opportunity to review their CVs and have some input into that selection process?
That's a very good question. Yes, thanks. So the department already has they've already facilitated they've got a partnership with Harambe, which runs SAYouth.mobi. So what they've done, they've already started, trying to assist with, collating databases, that corporate and host companies can look at. We are happy to share that with with the respective host businesses, but the host businesses is also able to. I think that is a first block. If you do not get anybody that you feel is suitable for your organization, we would encourage you to find your own. Again, we are a demand-led organization, so we are hoping that when corporates recruit their own youth, they're able to find individuals that meet your culture, your company culture, because that is very important. And I think each business knows what type of people generally add value to the organization, and we'd like to encourage them to recruit accordingly as well. Again, all of this goes back to how can we provide the best possible working experience for the youth, where they're able to add value to the organization, and secondly, if the youth adds value to the organization and the organization is happy, there is generally then where we see youth being absorbed or being given a fixed term or long term contract after the 12 months. So that is why we do encourage corporates to really look at the list that we provide them, do the necessary interviews, or even look at look within their own databases as to which youth are suitable. But I think as long as they meet the requirements of 18 to 35, South African youth, and have unemployed and have the necessary tourism qualifications.
Perfect. I think what might be useful when we do share the recording is maybe to share a bit of a roadmap in terms of the
Yes.
process. So, yeah, I think that'll help answer some of the onboarding, interviewing, do I get to
Mhm.
review questions that are coming up.
Mhm.
Just very simplistically in how my mind works, I see it as a matchmaking service, but I think
100%.
yeah, everybody is just very keen to understand if they will have input into that matchmaking service. So, yeah, a bit of a roadmap may be cool. Julia wants to know what is the nominal fee cost? I think you said you would
Mhm.
communicate that, but maybe you just want to touch on that, all right?
Yes, yes. So again, this is a very unique partnership that we have with this is a very unique partnership that we've cultivated with Department of Tourism. Our general fees on the YES program range between 9,700 rand and we've got some that cost around 100 rand. But for this particular program, to make it easy, having engaged with a few members initially. Again, it's a very unique program. It's the first time we do it. We are trying to work out the easiest way to get everybody to sign and onboard. So we are looking at a nominal cost of around 2,000 rand. Again, we're just finalizing the registration portal because we are a digital company. So we're just trying to find the easiest way for organizations to register. But we will communicate that as we finalize this. But we are looking at a cost of around 2,000 rand that we will charge as a monitoring and evaluation fee, or what we call our M&E fee here.
And again, just to reiterate, once off or a fee monthly and per placement, if you could just
Yes.
reconfirm that.
Yes, it's a once-off fee at the beginning. So if it's 2,500, you're only going to pay 2,500 rand um, at the beginning of the program for each youth. Let me say one. So for each youth once off, it's not going to be a monthly cost. There's not going to be a 6 months cost. It's just going to be a once-off fee per youth.
Perfect. And then I've got someone saying if they've got multiple offices around the country, could they recruit in various offices? I mean, absolutely, you
Yes.
would be able to do that. You would just need to, obviously, when you do the registration, note how many youth and where you need those youth to be available. Joan would like to know, and a very good question, our standard recruitment process usually includes ID and criminal check. Would be allowed to do so for this youth placed as at the business. So maybe you just want to chat through the
Mm.
sort of governance around employing youth and getting them into these businesses, around criminal checks, ID
Yes.
checks, all that type of thing.
Yes, yes. So generally, anything over and above our requirement for tourism graduate ages 18 to 35, unemployed, that we expect you to fully apply your own internal, policies. Even when it comes to dismissals, like I said again, we're not doing the youth a favor, and respectfully so, we're also not doing the hosts a favor here. We're really trying to solve we're really trying to assist the youth, assist the companies. So you need to apply your internal policies. If there's criminal checks, that's great, that's amazing. If there is background checks, that is okay as well. If people, for example, do not come to work, don't report for 2 days, if that is aligned with Basic Conditions of Employment Act, Labor Relations Act, and it aligns with your internal company policy requirements, that you dismiss them after 2 days without coming, that is okay as well. You're able to do that. So again, we want to make sure that both parties are happy here. So you can apply your own requirements when it comes to who you finally decide to select, and how you treat them in your organization, or what measures you need to take to discipline individuals. That's completely up to yourselves.
Perfect. Is the registration portal for the host or for the youth to be hosted? So both. So you would also register on the portal as a host. The whole process is digital, as Letabo has explained. So we will obviously take you through that in the FAQ. We will share with the recording as well. Another question we got was, we get a number of people wanting to do their practical internship with us who are studying the tourism qualification. Will these youth qualify for the program, or do they need to be graduated already?
Yes, thanks for that. So the requirement here from the department is that they need to have graduated already.
Perfect. That's great. And we'll reconfirm that in the FAQ. I've got a question from Linda around, do they need to find the youth themselves? I think we've already answered that. Ideally, you would want to place someone in your business through the program, but maybe Emmanuel, you just want to reiterate, if they already had a database as a company, you already have a database, and they aren't able to match through the program, where do they stand then?
So the idea is that they apply or utilize we've already done initial screenings, or we've already got a database that we are happy to share. If you do not find anybody there that meets your requirements, we encourage you to utilize your own database. So the department wanted to, because they also have other partners here that support more on the supply side. I mean, an organization like Harambe, they're more on the supply side when it comes to youth unemployment. So they had a database already that they are happy to share with yourself. And then we are more demand faced, so we were more corporate facing. So we will share the database with yourselves, or the interested corporates. If you're not able to find, again, anybody that meets your requirements, or your expected standards, we are happy to encourage you to utilize your own database.
Perfect. And this ties into the next question around, do youth register on the portal? Youth register,
Oh,
if
yes.
I'm not mistaken.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
You can
No, no,
answer.
no. Thank you for that. So yes, we don't have a like a youth portal. So there isn't a yes portal for youth. So we will just share, the details of the youth that we've received from Harambe, and from Department of Tourism, and we will share that with yourself. The organizations that register through a portal are the corporate companies that want to participate in the Yes Initiative. But we will share the details of the registration process. We even have a very nice visual roadmap of the various steps we expect everybody to take. It's simple and practical, honestly, that you can do to get the necessary salary, or to get the necessary support, or on our onboarding process. Let me rather say it's quite seamless. It is not very difficult. Yeah, I hope I answered the question there, Kim.
Perfect. Yeah, I think we're getting the same sort of question through again around, if we are accepted to host an intern or a youth, that we can advertise within our town for recruiting the right person. I think ideally first prize is that
Mm.
you host a youth through the program, as Letabo has explained, because that pool's already sitting there. They've been pre-screened and all that. And if you really can't match with someone, there's the opportunity to do that. So
Mm.
we will reconfirm that again in the FAQs. I've got a question here. Hi, if our organization is already a registered yes employer, do we need to go through the registration process again?
Uh, Okay, first of all, thanks. It's great to know that we've got a few of our yes clients here. I'm not surprised though. So yes, if you are, please, because this is a separate initiative, you'd know that if you are a yes client, you have to pay like a registration fee, then a M&E fee, which is probably significantly higher than what we want to propose that we want to put forward. However, though, for this specific initiative, please do contact us on this particular email because it's a unique project that we are and partnership that we're working on. Please contact us at U for Tourism. You'll still be expected to pay the monitoring and evaluation fee. That's the M&E fee that your organization would be probably be liable for, and we'll just take it from there. But again, yeah, this is just slightly different. So please don't go through the typical portal. For now, just please go through this email address for you for tourism so that we can track and monitor who you are, because otherwise you might be lost in our normal registration onboarding process.
Thank you so much. Just a question about recording the session. The session is being recorded. It won't be shared on email. It will be shared in a newsletter, which we'll send out as soon as we've got the assets together. Linda wanted to know how much the youth get paid per month. I think we did cover that earlier on. It averages out to around, if I'm not mistaken, the top was 6,000 Rand per month.
Yes, so the department was gracious enough to offer us between minimum three, it's 300 Rand a day for each day of work. The minimum is 21 days, so it works out to 6,300 when I calculated. The maximum days that they can work are 23 days. So that will be when 6,900 Rand then, if it's 23 days, if my maths is correct. So the minimum is 21 days that they're expected to work. The maximum is 23 days, and they will get 300 Rand for each day of work. So, I mean, it's literally between 6,300 and 6,900 Rand. What then we will do is we will reconcile, because this was the department's request, that we reconcile the attendance register, and then the youth will be paid according to their attendance register. And maybe if I can touch on the payment quickly, yes, we'll facilitate the payment directly to the youth's wallets or to the youth's bank accounts.
Perfect. I think you've also touched on this. Can we add additional remuneration to align with other employee packages, or is that discouraged? Don't know if you just want to touch on that again.
Yes, we 100% encourage that. Quite frankly, even on our normal YES program, a lot of the minimum requirements for a typical YES program, let's say for a client that wants to improve their BEE levels, or they just want to participate in the YES initiative, the legislated requirement is that it has to be more than a minimum wage. The minimum wage is currently around 5,000 Rand. But a lot of companies note that and are aware that, the minimum entry level or whatever job level in their organization maybe doesn't pay 5,000 Rand, maybe might be paying, 15, 20,000 Rand, whatever that job role is. And the companies slightly raise that. Again, it's in order to make sure that the youth gets a quality working experience, and there's a certain level of expectations that is made for the youth and for the corporate. So we do encourage that. That always makes the working experience a bit easier for the youth, that they don't feel like they're not part of the broad organization. So we do encourage that if it aligns with your employment or recruitment policies.
Yeah, and I think it's also just from our side, I think it's also approaching this as a long-term employment. The hope is that you would absorb this individual into your business. So, if they fit with your culture, they're doing a good job, and you want to remunerate them as per other salary packages and that over and above the stipend that they receive, I think it is highly encouraged, especially if they're a good fit and they are excelling in what they're doing. So I think it's good to think. I know when we initially launched this, I think it was end of July, August, a lot of people wanted this as a solution for peak season, but this is a 12-month project or initiative with the hope that these individuals would be absorbed into your business to tackle unemployment. So I think we just need to switch gears in terms of thinking of it that way. So I've got another question. If it's 2,000 Rand per youth in terms of monitoring and evaluation, and I host 6 graduates in my business, then I'm required to pay a once-off of 12,000 Rand. That would be correct, Letabo?
Yes, that is 100% correct. Yeah, that will 12,000. It will be for 6 youth.
Perfect. Joan would like to know, how would we facilitate sick and annual leave allocation? Would we align with BCEA in this case in terms of paid, unpaid leave?
Yes, that is correct. When it comes to sick leave, again, we're led by the BCA or the legislate or all the various legislations and acts. That is correct. Then, when it comes to sick leave, they will be remunerated for sick leave if it can be reflected on the attendance register as per the requirement by the funder, which is the Department of Tourism in this particular instance. So we will pay youth that are sick and have provided the necessary either documentation or that meets your own internal like policy or that align with your own internal policy requirements.
Perfect. I've got someone who's asked, well, I understand it's the tourism qualification part. Is it possible to hire someone who doesn't have that qualification while having a different qualification which aligns with the company's needs? This is a specific project through the Department of Tourism, but maybe you just want to touch on if there's any other opportunities.
No, so for this particular program, the department was quite clear that for the graduate program, they would like tourism graduates to be considered here. So again, it's not necessarily a yes requirement. It is always a funder's requirement. So in this particular instance, the tourism qualification is a must.
Perfect. Thank you so much. In terms of criminal checks and dismissal reports, are you not able to do this for us? I believe it has to be a standard procedure. So when you bring them on, we already have that report. Then we take it from there. That will really assist.
As we mentioned again, thanks for the question. That we expect the host company, which is yourselves, to select the final individual that you'd like to place within inside your organization. We unfortunately are not we don't have the resources or the capabilities to verify that. So if your organization does criminal checks on individuals, please do that. I think with our partnership with the DT, the funding has been clear that it's only for salaries and for related statutory costs like UIF. That they would like to contribute on behalf of the youth. So if there is anything else your organization would like to do, please do go ahead. Unfortunately, we are not able to do criminal checks.
Yeah, and I think, if you were hiring someone, and you're going through the process as a business, you would have to do that in any event. I think now you are getting someone into your business, you have to go through the normal checks and balances, even though they are receiving the stipend. So just to be clear on that, I think we'll include in the FAQ as well, so we're clear on what the expectations are. Another question is, do I pay the registration once I've identified a suitable candidate or before? What happens if I pay the registration fee? And that's the 2,000 Rand estimate once or for moderation and evaluation, but cannot find any youth who resides in my area or who is a fit for my business.
Sure. Okay. So I think we'll detail again the registration process. So firstly, like we mentioned, we'd like okay, let me rather just answer that straight. If you've paid the registration fee and you can't find it, or the program doesn't start, or you decide, you know what, you're no longer interested, we'll refund you. So we're not going to keep the 2,000 Rand. Let me say that. But again, the idea is that we will try and manage demand. Again, we don't want to be oversubscribed because it's only funding for around 400 youth. So on our side, we'll have to try and manage demand and reconcile how many pledges have been made. And from there, we will communicate to the interested parties as they come and register or they follow the process as to how many they would be able to take on board. So you will be refunded if you're not able to place any youth. So we're not going to take or retain any money. But as long as the youth hasn't started, we are happy to refund you any related fees.
Perfect. Thanks so much. We're getting more or less the same sort of questions, so I think it'll be easily addressed in a FAQ. Just one last question, and I think I can easily answer this, is what if I don't have the 8,000 Rand and I want to place for individuals in my business? Is there a payoff arrangement? I don't think there would be because, you don't, logistically, that just wouldn't make sense. So, Lataba, correct me if I'm wrong. I've inserted myself, but I don't think they'd be able to be a payoff arrangement in terms of that M&E fee, once-off fee. But you can correct me.
Yeah. No, no, unfortunately not. We are, and we're an NGO. We run a very bootstrapped. It's a very bootstrapped organization. Yeah. So unfortunately, we do not have any. We're not able to do that. Unfortunately, yeah. And I think it's a, and hence we also had the M&E fee. It was also a way that we can get pledges from organizations, that they are really willing to, they really do want to do this. Again, we're not an exploitation organization. We're not doing, anybody a favor here. We really are trying to do something that is very, very meaningful for all interested parties and for the tourism sector as a whole. So we're unfortunately not able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a commitment both ways. I think that once off M&E fee is a commitment from the business that they will do everything in their power to
Mm.
treat that placement in their business, that individual as one of their own. Because again, like I said, this is a long-term strategy. This is somebody that you want to have in your business ideally after 12 months. And it's an
Yes.
entrance into the industry after all. So it's a win-win for both. So I think that's the mindset we need to always keep front and center.
Mm.
Those are all the questions that have come through. Like I said, the session is being recorded. We will hopefully share that by latest, I would say Wednesday, with any FAQs that we get together based on the common questions that have come through.
Yeah.
The contact details and how to proceed further will be included in that communication. And then obviously you can contact Yes for Youth on the email address that's been provided, but
Mm.
everything will be in the communication we sent out. We are exactly bang on 12 o'clock. Thank you to Lataba and Emmanuel for joining and presenting today. And thank you to everyone for your time. We know it is silly season. We really do appreciate you staying engaged for the past hour, and chat soon. Have a very good festive holiday season and hope your businesses are busy. Cheers.